Now we move to next speaker, which is Pim Kat from Technobis Technologies.
Okay, thank you, Pascal, for inviting me to do this kind of new talk about my company. As you see, I'm also, no, you don't see that, I'm the CTO, technical guy of the company, telling you about mergers and acquisitions. Jose is also a CTO, so probably those guys are most familiar with that. I'm going to tell a story about the acquisition of the Technobis Group and well, the road that I took 3 years time to find somebody that was interested and rich enough to buy my company. We started the company in 1996, and at that time I had a very nice job in a steel plant, being a researcher on a topic, computer-controlled motion, and that has to do with robotics and servo systems and control algorithms and so on. And already earning some money there, and had a very nice job. But at that time, the steel industry went down completely, and yeah, I was lent out to other companies doing other stuff. And at that time, I thought, well, maybe I can start my own company. We started the company in this, before the nice car was in this area, it was caravans for the winter. We put our caravans away for the winter, and this was just a storage for caravans. And if you think Pim already had a nice car, it's not my car that you see, it's the car of the landlord renting this facility to us. I think I had a car of 700 euro at that time, so it was really nothing, and the startup. 69, so 23 years ago. And yeah, we were enthusiastic guys and doing business, and this is the growth of the company over the last 24 years. And you can see that we gradually grew with 25 people in about 20 years, so that's one person a year on average, and that's not fast, but okay, we survived and we had jobs and so on. The thing why we have this growth in the end is that we changed to a new technology. First of all, we decided not to stay into computer-controlled motion, because in Holland there are a lot of companies focusing on that, and they're all located near Eindhoven. ASML is a big customer for them, so we were one of the 10 companies that could do that, but we lived far away from ASML, so it's very hard to get business going if you do the same as all the other guys are doing. So somewhere in 2003, we decided to go into photonics. And photonics is about standing still in the world and not moving at all. So that's thermal issues, that's mechanics, that's the optics. And that was, well, more unique in Holland at that time than computer-controlled motion. I think in 2006 I got contact within the University of Eindhoven about integrated photonics, and we did our first design in the European project paradigm, and we designed our first chip at that time. And actually that chip, when we received it after more than 1 year, it was actually functioning pretty well already. So we had the idea Okay, you design a chip, you let it produce by a foundry, and then it functions. Well, I can tell you this was only a once in a lifetime, a lucky shot. The second chip that was functioning was about 4 years later. But okay, we had the idea, integrated photonics, that's the future, and let's focus on that. So it took us an extra, what is it, maybe 8 years to get to real products. And then we were more or less discovered in another European project by a big aircraft builder in Europe. I'm not allowed to tell their name, but they're not dropping down from the air, at least. Doing some flight tests on helicopters and aircraft. And after having successful test flights with these instruments, we are now on the position of being in the design in phase in the real aircraft. So that means our equipment will be in every aircraft from that particular builder of aircraft from 2023 on. And then you see the ramp up from 25 people, I think that's 3.5 years ago, to 80 people what it is now, and I think we will grow in the next 2 or 3 years to about 160 people, and mainly in integrated photonics and packaging of integrated photonic devices. That's the story. So, I tried to skip the names, but I think I didn't succeed. So you can read what kind of customers we have here. Start of integrated photonics in 2006, or with fiber optic sensing in 2006. 2008 it was integrated photonics, the first chip. Then we got a project for ASML measuring extreme resolution strain in their machines, and we reached the incredible resolution of 100 attometer wavelength shift on an FBG using integrated photonics. And I think the only way to do that is to put your complete measuring device on the chip, condition the chip in an extreme way, and then you can measure something to like 100 attometer, and later on we even got a resolution of 10 attometer wavelength resolution. But that's not for standard equipment. Standard equipment is more or less in the region of 100 femtometer to 1 picometer resolution. Boeing was one of our first customers for integrated photonics. We had a flight test starting in 2008 with a project, and I think this system is 3 years on a helicopter now in the desert of Arizona, and still being used in every test flight, so it's more reliable than we thought at that time. I said, well, if it can survive 2 or 3 flight tests on a helicopter blade, it's on the blade itself, we are already lucky, but still it's operating, it's still giving all the data of the blade torsion and vibration and forces on the blade, even up till today. Ceristo was the first real big project we did with Airbus, a European project where we did shape reconstruction of a morphing wing, landing gear load monitoring, what were the other two? Structural health monitoring and another job. And we really thought, okay, this is a nice project that we do together with Airbus, and then they can see whatever we can do with integrated photonic sensing systems. Later on, we were approached by Airbus to do the project that we are getting into the real aircraft now. And I said, yeah, you probably know us from this big European project. So no, I just Googled who can do sensor systems with that amount of sensors, and I found you on Google. So, okay, that's how it goes. In between, we had the landing gear load monitoring project that's together with Meggitt. That's a tier 1 supplier from Switzerland. And we are finishing that project at this moment. And in the meantime, we developed Airbus and Saab and Technobis together, a real system for the real aircraft. So it had a flight test with a standard chip-based system in 2017. We started the project in 2018, and it will be in service in 2023 in every aircraft A350 type that will be built from that time on. Okay, doing integrated photonics means that you have to package your chip, and packaging is difficult. It's much more difficult than packaging electronics. So we did a lot of cooperation with Tyndall in Cork, Ireland, but that's an institute, and that means that they can package one device a week or so. And we need a little bit more, so we started doing our own packaging in 2010, and it resulted in the decision to do it ourselves. But basically the equipment and the clean room that you need for that is very expensive. So I said, well, let's open up our packaging foundry for other applications, and that means at this moment we are doing a lot of projects, datacom, telecom, RF over fiber, sensing, even competitor sensing, also FBG sensing on chips, but okay, at least I know what my competitors are doing then. And we just started series product packaging for space, so it means on most small satellites there are 2 or 3 devices coming from Technobis packaging. I always say I'm not married to a material but to a woman. It means we are doing indium phosphide, silicon on insulator, silicon nitride, hybrids. We don't care as long as it's packaging integrated photonics. Well, we built the clean room for that last year. It's a 550 square meter clean room. And we do manual packaging, and we now get the equipment in to do automatic packaging. Means that we are doing less than 1 minute per package, and that means we can do on one line something like 35,000 packages a year. And in the future we will build a large facility to do that, and probably copy lines for the different markets like aerospace, medical systems, high-tech, automotive, datacom, telecom, and so on. Okay, and then it starts. One of the companies, one of the partners in aerospace we worked with, he said, who actually owns the shares of this company? I said, well, majority still me, so if you want to talk about something, talk to me. So that guy came up after some months with what we call a very bad offer. And I said, well, no, I'm not interested to sell my company for this amount of money. And that was, well, that story went around, and then I was approached by another tier one, and they had a big quarrel internally about this new technology. Is integrated photonics for sensing, is that becoming big or not? And some people in that big organization say, yeah, that's really the future. Other people, no, it's too early stage and it's too risky and blah, blah, blah. So in the end, I said, well, actually, you're too small for us. So that also died. Then another tier one supplier from aerospace approached me and said, yeah, we want to take over Technobis, and it's so interesting because you're already in Boeing and Airbus projects and blah, blah, blah. But they reorganized. It's an international company located in Holland and in the UK and the US, and they had this reorganization, so they were too busy with the reorganization. Then one of the guys from the tier one said, well, if my company is not going to buy you, I'm going to buy you. And he made a very nice offer on the company, but he couldn't come up with the money, so that died also. In the meantime, we are about 1.5 years further in this trajectory. And then there was a very rich guy coming to my company and said, yeah, you have this new technology and I want to buy you. And by the way, I give you so much money for the company. I said, well, that's great. And we had this date, 1st of May last year, he would take over my company. And I didn't hear back from him a month, 3 months. The 1st of May passed and I didn't hear back from him. And then I think 1st of June, he called me and said, yeah, actually, I don't know what I bought, so I'm not going to do it. So, what? He said, yeah, you can sue me for that, but I'm so rich, you will lose anyway. So, okay, that's new for me. In the meantime, yeah, we grew from well, let's say nothing to 20 million turnover, and we think we will grow to 160 million turnover in the next year. But that means also the investments are growing continuously. The first building that we built, and we call it the old building because it's already 3.5 years old, it's the old building, cost 2.2 million. Then we did a new building, building 2. That was 3 million because of the clean room. Packaging equipment was something like 3 million. And we are now planning to do the big packaging foundry, 10 million building, very large clean room. And I think equipment will be something like 15 million. So growing the company also means that your investment and the money that you're talking about is growing tremendously. And at that year I turned 63 years old. I thought, well, I don't want to go on like this forever. Maybe I have to do something myself and not wait until somebody approaches me and says, I want to buy your company. So strategy for acquisition for me was to hire professionals to do it for me. I said, I want to sell my company, at least the majority of the shares, to somebody. And it can be anybody. So we had this long list of strategic partners. And we had the long list of financial investors. And the strategic partners, they all are still too afraid because the technology is so new. And is Airbus really going to use it? And is it really something for automotive and blah, blah, blah. So they're still too scared. So we had the financial investors, and we got very good and very bad offers from them. Yeah, actually, you're selling the future. There's a limited turnover and supplier base or customer base at that time. So you have this idea, this can grow very big, but yeah, there's hardly any proof that it will happen. So you're really trying to sell something that is not existing. And I found out that I'm very good at that, by the way. So we had this financial investors, long list, short list. And we had a very nice offer from a very big financial investor. And we also set a date when we will pass the whole deal. And I think about 2 or 3 days before the deal, they called me and said, yeah, actually, we are not investing in companies smaller than 100 million. I said, well, that's not a real problem. Make it 100 million, but I don't think that was a good idea. So that also, I really thought, well, this is it, and this is for real. But okay, that was it. Then we had another offer that was a very good offer, but that was a real financial company. So, and I'm very afraid that they're only looking at the figures, monthly and quarterly figures, and that's not the spirit of my company. We still have to invest for years. It's a lot of R&D, and we are ramping up in customers now, but I am not going to promise to anybody that it will ramp up to 160 million in 2 or 3 years' time. I think there is a big chance that it will happen, but it's not a real deal. So there was this second or third best offer on my company with guys from Active Capital Company in Amsterdam, and they said, yeah, we understand that's still uncertain, your company, but we think it will grow. We have to invest in the company continuously. Don't kill the research. I was very afraid of that because that's one of the tricks to make more money. Scale your research and have better financial figures, but that never happened. So we closed the deal with Active Capital Company 9th of September last year. And that means that, new people are stepping in. Well, luckily they did this update of the strategies of all companies, and it was not very different from what we had ourselves, so that's good. They are investing, really investing, so the new building, 50 million equipment, but also in research, the projects. It's much easier for me to start new projects now because I have to explain what the business case is, what we have to do, and then they are really willing to invest in new research topics. Of course, we are more focusing on the larger quantities now because that's why we expect to be the real money. We were a company doing everything, so if it was interesting enough, technically we would do it. And it takes a lot of time to make one very special thing, for instance, for ASML, but you don't earn money with that. Real money is in the real quantities. Airbus, for instance, is a couple of thousand systems a year. We are now working on automotive, a couple of million systems a year. And yeah, that's where they think they will earn real money. Focus is also more on commercial off-the-shelf systems. We have a lot of systems ready for sale, but we didn't focus on that because we are researchers by heart. So new things are almost more interesting than the things that we already solved. But now I learned, okay, what you solved, sell that. Please sell that because it makes money. Okay, other people doing that, not me. So yeah, status at this moment. We have 2 new directors, a CFO, financial guy, CEO for everything that I don't like. And I am the CTO. I'm doing the things which I started when I was a young guy doing research. First results of this merger. Packaging, yeah, it can be coincidence, it can be because we have this investor company, but we got a first real big, large order for a packaging deal. Oil and gas sensing, we have a very large project at this moment to develop some special device for sensing, FBG sensing. We have this Airbus project, TRL 6 gate passed, and we are asked to do a RFQ, so a quotation for the A320 aircraft now. Automotive, we are working on a very large project in all electric cars. We started the space series packaging project, and there is interest in different kind of photonic sensing, integrated photonic sensing, different than FBG, what is our background. So we're working on complete different system using light as measurement medium. And it means that already in the first year we are doubling the turnover of TCS. That's another company and nothing to do with sensing, but you can see new people coming in, new bosses, and they could double the turnover of that company. And yeah, I was really surprised by that. But if you have enough of resources, and that means people and money, it's much easier to do that. Tripling the turnover of the other company, the company that I started 23 years ago, and it's really happening now. So I think it was the right moment to sell my company. Maybe too early because, yeah, after all this, you can say, yeah, just wait for a couple of years, and then you have a company of 100 million. I don't know. I think you can reach a certain level yourself, and then you need help from investors or bigger company or people that are more used to this world than I am as a technician. So that was my story. I don't know if it's of any use to you, but it's nice to tell you about this trajectory that I did. Thank you.
Thank you, Pim, for this very nice presentation. So now there is time for questions.
Hi, Pim. So it's really impressive to see what you achieved in the last years, and actually very a powerful message. The one that you send, that if you invest and you believe in a technology, at the end it pays off.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, what was the most painful thing when you were growing up, especially in these last years when the growth was explosive in your company?
Oh, there's a lot of issues that are new to me, but one of the things that I noticed that I don't know everybody by name anymore in my company. And if you grow with one guy a year, it's so easy, but then you have 20 new people in one time. And then at one time, we all have the badge. And if you have visitors, you need a red badge for a visitor that cannot walk by himself. And white is that he is free to run around himself. And people without the badge are my people. But actually, I said, is he working with me, or is he from the company, or who is this? So that's the first thing that happens if you ramp up that fast. Well, there are a lot of issues changing. Having new directors means that things are going different. And I always thought it's so easy, they take it over and I have my money and I have no worries anymore. But actually, it's still my company. So you see things happening that are not in the line how you do it. And then it's very hard not to interfere or not to overrule. Yeah, and that's after half a year now I'm getting used to that. But actually I had sleepless nights for the first time in my life when I sold the company, because things were going completely different. I said, this company was in 6th gear up to now, and now it's in 2nd gear. Nobody's doing anything, so yeah, but okay, I hear from a lot of people that that's the first half year, and then it goes good again with the new directors and the new management. But yeah, that's strange. Being the CEO for 23, 24 years, and all of a sudden you're not the CEO anymore. So.
Pim, a related question, I mean, from our discussion yesterday, but essentially, do you think it's the money that actually made the change, or the different mindset of the new directors that actually gave you the boost? Or is it a combination of those?
I think it's a combination of both. It's what you notice, you are so used to running your business 20 years long. We invested 18 million in integrated photonics in the last 10 years. For a company of 20 people, that's too much, actually. So you're always on the edge of going bankrupt or not, or just survive. And then all of a sudden, it's completely different. And yeah, that's a combination of, okay, we have resources, we have money, we have people. If we need more people, just hire more people. I think it's a combination. The new directors think different than I do, because I'm actually used to a small company that's growing exponentially now. And I think I'm more the starter for a company, and if it really grows to something that it's becoming now, you need other type of directors for that.
Any other question? No? Let's thank Pim again.